Hello, my name is Dr. Rafe Hallett and I'm a member of the History Department here at the University of Leeds. I'd like to say a few things about the relationship between the research that I do, on the one hand, and the teaching that I provide for the department. Now, my research specialism is early modern history, and particularly the printing revolution. So I look at the way in which new texts, compendia, encyclopedias, dictionaries change the way people think, the way they express themselves, and the way they learn. So my teaching, interestingly, develops from that research in the sense that, yes, I disseminate those ideas and transmit them to my students. But the most interesting thing about my teaching is that I use new forms of technology, new forms of digital and online learning to encourage students to interact on online forums, discussion boards, wikis that they produce collaboratively online. And it makes me think of the nice synergy that exists between my research focus, which is on the way new forms of text technology change the way people think and express, and my own use of teaching technology, which I'm hoping shapes the way students learn. So what I'm finding here at Leeds is that I'm being given the opportunity to link the core passion of my research with the techniques of my teaching. And what I also like to do is, as students learn about the printing revolution, about transformations, for example, in newspaper production in the 19th century, about the onset of TV and radio in the 20th century, I like my students to reflect on the information revolution that they're going through at the moment, and the way it changes the way they think, they communicate with each other, and the way they are transmitting their knowledge to other people during their learning. And that gave me an idea to produce a module called Research, Collaboration and Communication. Now, this module obliges students to choose a research topic that is about local history, so it's about Leeds or Yorkshire. And they do that under one of two themes. They either do it about race and religion in the area, or they do it about Leeds, the city itself, about its civic pride, its identity, its architecture, its patterns of demography and immigration. And what that, for me, allows is the students to develop a sense of loyalty and belonging about the place in which they do their research. So they choose their theme, and then comes the clever bit, I suppose. We force the students to breach the walls of the university, if you like, to go outside the university bubble and to meet and talk with heritage organisations, charities or community groups that are also interested in these local historical topics, often for a current issue around social issues, religious interfaith relationships within the city, or perhaps even in the design of new facilities for the community of the city. And what they find is it's very useful to have an academic input, not just from lecturers and tutors at the university, but from students working at the university who are closer, in a sense, to the issues of the community and of the people of Leeds itself. So what we encourage in this module is a partnership, a research partnership that grows gradually over the whole year and builds up into a set of ideas, a research project that is formed on the basis of two parties. So, for example, we had a group of students working with the Jewish community in Leeds to trace the Jewish pattern of immigration and settlement over the last 150 years. We had students working with Leeds City Museum to talk about the idea of philanthropy and charity within the community and how that had developed from the 19th century industrialists to present-day ideas of corporate responsibility and social concern from companies within the Leeds area. So what we find is that collaborative input not only generates new research and new ideas about Leeds and the area, but for our students, what it does is it's extraordinary and can be transformative in the skills that they develop. So yes, they do research in archives. They come into this library, into the Brotherton room here, to look at the history of Leeds, its maps, its demography, its immigration patterns. But what they also do is draw from current debates provided by heritage, charity and community groups, and they adapt their historical research to modern relevant concerns around Leeds and the surrounding area. What I find that the module brings is a greater consciousness of what it means to be a researcher within a university today. Yes, they work in relation to academics, they work within archives, but fundamentally they're working with a new audience, with the public and with the community. And so what I'm interested in in terms of the products and objectives of this module, is research impact that's led by students. It's the students that actually take this research, organise debates, exhibitions, broadcasts, that transfer the knowledge that's generated within these walls to the Leeds community. And what the students develop then is a refined historical outlook, a loyalty to their area, and an understanding of what it means to be a researcher of impact and of significance in the modern world.
So what exactly were you trying to achieve with this research project?
So we were basically trying to track the changes in Leeds from the industrial times of the 19th century up until the present day commercial Leeds as it is now. And we decided to do this by looking at philanthropic giving and whether it still exists in Leeds today in the same form as it existed then. And also the motives behind this giving. So we, for instance, we would look at factory workers, factory owners, and see whether what motivated them to give back. And now we look at corporate social responsibility in businesses and see whether that's motivated in the same kind of way.
Yeah, the way we set out our project as well, we did it in 10 case studies, which we split up over the time period, which was a really useful way because it meant that when it came to drawing comparisons, it was clearly set out.
Thinking about the skills you've actually gained from doing this module, because it sounds a bit different to some of the other history modules you do.
I think a sense of independence. It's really helped me this year when I've been doing my dissertation, because we were really sort of directing ourselves when it came to research. Now I feel like I have a lot more sort of direction when I'm reading, when I'm working, because I know that as a project which is your own, you can go with it.
Yeah, it really helped our time management skills, I think, because there wasn't really a strict kind of there's an essay and then. It was much more you had to do it yourself, and so we set our own kind of goals, and that really helped, I think, and I do that now with my work, like my dissertation now. It's much more independent, so we can set our own little goals, complete them, make ourselves feel better, but contribute to the wider picture.
I think something I noticed about it is actually about teamwork and compromise.
Oh, yeah.
And also about different roles within the team, because you're a lot of strong characters within your group, but it's really nice to see, and certainly within your reflective logs, the development of you as individuals, but also as a part of a team, and how you work together and how you compromise and got through possibly some differences of opinion, possibly.
Yeah, I think teamwork it's really helped with knowing kind of what role you take, so whether you're the leader or whether you aren't. I remember doing an exercise at the start of the module, and we just had no idea. We had to fill in a questionnaire about what we thought we were, and just none of us had any idea, but we kind of fell into the roles, and now we know where our weaknesses are, but we also know where our strengths are. So I think that really helped.